I'm Fruitbat. Welcome back to another episode of Vampire the Masquerade Shadows of New York. I don't remember where we left off. March 2020. Back at it again at Big Bit Burger. Familiar sounds, familiar smells, familiar faces. Yet again, I'm recalling that night when everything finally seemed to change for the better. I mean, it's not like I wasn't expecting everything to go back to the old, depressing normal. Even in the thick of it, the rational part of me recognized my state as temporary. But with these highs, there's always a hope it won't end. Or maybe that an ego death will finally occur. Be satisfied, you stupid fucking bitch! I command you! Here's all the logical evidence for why you should be satisfied. Here's the obvious direction for your life. And here's a detailed explanation of how you should treat the people that care for you. No dice. I always fall back into the same old habits. It's like they were encoded deep into my DNA. The aimlessness, the powerlessness, the spiritual exhaustion, these goddamn fast food trips. The stupid fucking self-loathing now amplified whenever I drink somebody's blood. Maybe I should just blame it all on misfortune of my birth. You do this social climbing until you dissociate, and then you are just this untethered, constantly frustrated ball of dumb desires. Except I'm sort of immortal right now, and I need to figure out what to do next. I watched this obscure Asian movie once, Eli Eli Lema Sabachthani, starring Tadanobu Asano, one of the coolest guys in the world. He plays this Merzbow-like a figure, a legendary noise musician. There's this mysterious virus spreading around the world, causing despair and mass suicides. A rich CEO's granddaughter gets sick and longs to die, so he spends a fortune searching for the cure. Terzat Asano and his friend, played by this violent onsen geisha guy, are traveling through Japan, searching the corpse-strewn towns and fields for any unique item that can produce beautiful sounds. As it turns out, the avant-garde walls of noise they create are able to heal the infected. The CEO begs the band to help, offering them all the money they want, but for some reason they refuse. Through a series of flashbacks, concerts, and vignettes, a mystery unfolds. Eventually, we realize that Asano's music is not just a remedy, it's also a cause of the virus. Whenever it connects with people, they get this hunger for more extreme, more novel experiences, and eventually they hit a wall. Nothing can satisfy them anymore. They lose their will to live. Not even the musicians are spared from this curse. They know the end will come, sooner or later. The girl is saved by a mind-blowing concert, but the tragedy is merely postponed, not averted. The last shot of a Jesus-like Asano silently considering his role as a savior and destroyer stayed with me. The form of the film is abrasive, little to no narrative coherence, some weird cartoonish creative choices, the Japanese noise soundtrack, the very free-form and hard-to-understand weave of themes. But at this point, movies like this are all that truly connect with me. I'm the New York City representative of La Sombra clan now, also known as the Night Clan. They are masters of shadows who cast distorted reflections and make modern tech go haywire in their presence. Last year, a few months before I was embraced, the La Sombra had joined the Camarilla, the biggest and most traditional sect in the vampire world. The two groups actually used to fight each other, but our leaders found some intel that made them reconsider their strategy. So they sent a diplomatic mission to parley with their historical enemies. The deal they got in Chicago was simple: an unlife for an unlife. For every La Sombra vampire allowed in the Ivory Tower, one La Sombra vampire has to meet their ultimate end. I still remember the name of the woman who met her final death, so I could begin my unlife. Her name was Esther Reed, a sworn enemy of the Camarilla, a guerrilla fighter who spent decades opposing them. She was someone with far better principles than mine, from what I've gathered. Well, whoever she was. Her execution by my sire served to convince the NYC elites to give us La Sombra a chance. Then, they set out to look for a mutually agreed upon candidate who became the clan's rep in the city. My sire reached for someone who gave the impression she was more than she appeared. The local court was looking for someone they could walk all over. After long negotiations, they decided that was a good compromise. They proceeded to systematically destroy my entire life just to make me show I was psychologically strong enough to join their ranks. The Turncount Special, they called it. Somehow I succeeded. And it eventually led me right back to where I started. I stopped writing, put my pen down. Will that be all? Yes, Miss Duval. I hope you enjoy your stay in London. Oh, I very much doubt I will. Just like every cultured person, I think the only good Englishman is a dead Englishman. Just get the hell out. Not interested in a small talk with someone as sociopathic as her. I finished the formalities in silence. That will be all. Tell Claudia I said hello and farewell. Safe travels! Don't let the door hit you on the way out, psycho. Well. I'm the lone La Sombra in this town, and my representational role means jack shit. No title, no perks, no whatever. Right now, I'm the court's gopher, doing all sorts of work nobody else will touch. My main duties? Assertive immigration officer. See, New York City is probably the biggest vampire travel hub in the USA, and definitely the biggest one on the East Coast. Almost every kindred arriving from Africa and Europe comes through here. The local camarilla is nuts about bureaucracy. Population control. So every vampire leaving or arriving in this town is supposed to check with me to inform me about their travels. Well, in theory at least. The VIPs play by the different rules. They take care of this stuff through connections and servants. But the smaller fish, I'm like a vampire Statue of Liberty. The first bloodsucker every kindred coming to NYC should see on paper, anyway. The first after the prince, or Claudir, the Primogen consul. These things vary. Yeah, I'm a naturally traitorous La Sombra, but so they still prefer being traditional and hands-on about these things. As I said, at the end of the day, I'm just a goofer. And this work only serves to remind me I'm not quite in, just standing at the gate. They haven't even given me an office. I just meet everyone in public places, such as coffee shops or this fast food restaurant. Some consider this an insult and lash out on me, but luckily most of them understand we're in the same boat. Only here because we're curs who need to be reminded of our place from time to time. Speaking of, my last client is 15 minutes late, and I still have more errands to run tonight. This is getting irritating. To be honest, I should just find some self-respect and leave, but I won't. My sorry upbringing left me with this stupid sense of responsibility. 10 more minutes pass. Eventually, an unfamiliar woman appears by the door. She tells someone to stand by the door and walks in. Oh, hello. Long chestnut hair, body stuck in her late teens, by the looks of it, fashionable scarf covering most of her face, elegant clothes, dignified walk. I signal her to sit in front of me, trying my best not to look too impatient. She obliges. You're here to check in? I am. Julia Stowinski, I presume? She's scanning her surroundings like we're at a circus. I hope you won't mind if I make it quick. I'm needed in Elysium. Name? Katherine Weise. Huh, I've heard that name before. Someone else's description of her crosses my mind. Oh, that weird lady who owns the Heart Wall but is never there. Weird? So it is her. Katherine Weise, the owner of the Art Hall, de facto headquarters of the Newark Camarilla. For fuck's sake, Julia, what are you doing calling her weird right off the bat? God knows you're already made a fool of yourself in front of enough VIPs in the city. Recover. I'm sorry, it's just that I still don't know many people there, so I have to go by the descriptions I'm given by the members of the Primogen. Well, the description is mostly correct, outside of that one word that slightly perplexes me. Pot calling the kettle black sound like. Oh, from what I gathered, it's just that your interests are rumored to be not fully in line with the comedias and it irks some folks up there. Being a keeper of the Elysium is not enough for some, I see. I suspected as much, but what can you do? She seems chill. Good. Anyway, Katherine Weise. Well, yes. Want me to spell it? Some people have trouble getting it right. Forgive my inscription. It's just that people of your stature usually don't bother checking in with me. They usually report their arrival to one of the Primogen, and they make all the arrangements. I heard Prince Panhard is busy with the preparations for her big party. I assume that if I spared her some paperwork, she'd appreciate it as a gesture of goodwill. Besides, I wanted to meet the infamous La Sombra representative out of sheer curiosity. My interest piqued once I heard about her. She looks around knowingly. Unique circumstances. Yes, Prince Helen Panhard had trouble justifying the exorbitant rent my property would need. That's literally pennies for her, as far as I know. She's been sitting on an empty property since last year. Looks like they've got it out for you. But that's what I assumed, but it's nice to get a confirmation. Well, it's not like my clan has ever been particularly popular in these parts. At least that's what I've heard. Seems of the fathers, so on. Yes, just to make sure you've never met Hester, but you know of her? I do know I wouldn't be here if not for her. Have you two met? No, I only heard of her once or twice. We had similar outlooks on many issues, although we tended to come up with completely different solutions. In any case, I think it's meaningful that the Hester died so that you could live. They feared her. Now they fear you, and that's why they're keeping you down. If anyone who's not a VIP said this to me, I'd laugh in their face. Oh, I get what she's doing. She's trying to buy me favors. Best not to act like I'm easy to please. Stick to business. Time will tell. In the meantime, I'll need you to help me with my documentation. Of course. So, where are you coming from? Washington, D.C. She says it with the way people in Hollywood movies say it, the way that suggests her Washington is wildly different from the Washington you and I would see. What were you doing there? Take a guess. Government work? Write that down. It ought to amuse Elena a little bit. If you say so, date and hour of arrival? She takes out a plane ticket and slides it towards me. It's all here. 1 a.m. Got it. Method of transit. Plane. Purpose of visit. Meeting with Prince ought to work just fine. I guess. Estimated duration of visit. Undefined. Write in 6 months, if you really need to. Place of accommodation. Conditions of intended stay. The art hall. Conditions should be adequate. You tell me. I tend to be happy with your Airbnb. Home sweet home? I'm not certain that I ever felt particularly at home here. That makes the two of us. Curious. Do you have nothing holding you here? The face of a blonde-haired friend appears in my mind's eye, then vanishes. There's nothing holding me anywhere. I see. A prolonged silence. She stares into my eyes and I return to stare. She's studying me. It's unnerving, but I do my best not to turn away. Eventually, she smiles. Didn't you say you were short on time? Oh god, yes. Collier will kill me. I quickly began to collect my stuff from underneath the table. You can simply inform him I paid you a visit. He'll understand, and he'll pass it on to everyone who should be in the know. Sure thing. Good. We will see each other soon, I hope. The party tomorrow night? I, wasn't invited. She gives me a pitying look. I understand. Well, if not given the opportunity, we should make our own. I'll be in touch. Good night, Miss Weise. I wish you a pleasant stay. Good night, and don't rush these things. You've got your whole unlife ahead of you, and you're in a position where you can take it easy. Take your time. Get a different perspective. I nod and I walk slowly out the door. When I lose sight of the restaurant, I sprint towards the subway. Slow night? I wish. You're late again, by the way. I hope you have a good excuse. Qadir al-Azmai, the mighty sheriff of New York, is not happy with me. No wonder I met him in front of Elysium 30 minutes later than the time we agreed on. Yeah, well, Katherine fucking Weise decided to arrive fashionably late. A likely story. She's supposed to be out of the city. If you think I'm pulling your leg, boss, feel free to check my report. I pass him all the official papers the way I do every night. Kadir stares me down for a good few seconds, then his steely gaze softens. You're serious? We's in McDonald's. With the mask and elegant clothes surrounded by the smell of french fries and hamburger patties? That must have been one hell of a sight. Technically it was BBB, not McDonald's, but yeah, God, I made such a fool of myself. First thing I did, I quoted somebody calling her a weirdo. I wanted to die on the spot. Serves you right, you walking faux pas. I've been trying to teach you to control your tongue, but you never learn. It's a new gaffe every week with you. Still, there's good news and bad news. The good news is Katherine has a fondness for vampires of humble beginnings. Probably why she decided to see you in your natural habitat. She's one of those rich, hard-seen assholes who seek out working-class cred. I did say something about watching your tongue. The bad news is she's very astute, so she can recognize a moron like you straight away. You never stood a chance at impressing her. Oh, shut up. You still need me for something else. I'll get on it straight away. I wouldn't be standing out here chatting with you if I hadn't taken care of my duties. 30 minutes is all it took to finish preparations for the big party. I'm about to see everyone off. I'm sorry. Couldn't be helped, I suppose. And it's more of your loss than mine. I just wanted some company tonight, and you could really use the chance to appear here on official duties so everyone get to know your face. Heaven knows your fast food job is going to get you anywhere. You need to, what do they call it, a hustle? You don't need to tell me that. But it's not like being paraded around for a bunch of blue-blooded douchebags. He somehow manages to give me a painful nudge in the back without so much as hint of a visible movement. Language, you fool! They're coming out. Just stand here silent for 5 minutes and focus on not embarrassing yourself any further. Will you? Got it. The first two silhouettes appear in the doorway of the heart hall. An old man in a wheelchair, pushed forward by his young servant. And I haven't seen either of them before. Mrs. Payne. Mr. Payne, the night is still young. Hope you find the rest of it pleasant. Payne, the wheelchair, I've heard about him. Edison Payne, one of the American Comedia's main connections to the government and Wall Street. Disabled in quite a few ways, needs a servant to communicate. I'd be full of resentment if I was embraced in this condition, but apparently Payne is nothing but grateful for his immortality. He keeps writing fervent defenses of the traditions and Camarilla customs. I should probably not say anything. He wordlessly shakes Kadir's hand, but doesn't even deign to acknowledge me. At least his servant gives me a small bow. I return it. They leave. Kadir turns to the next person leaving. Hi, Regent. Can't wait to see you in your outfit. Oh, she's cute. Spare me, Sheriff. This fancy dress parties cause me enough suffering without your help. I can only hope you haven't conspired with Eileen to embarrass me with this gift. She points to a shrink-wrapped set of clothes she's carrying inside her coat. Kadir smirks briefly. I didn't have to. As you well know, Princess Panhard displays considerable foresight in the matter of party planning. Yes, if there's one thing she's definitely serious about, it's frivolities. A recognizably immortal quality, especially for a prince. We ought to celebrate it, not oppose it. Don't worry, Sheriff. I'm a big girl who knows her etiquette. I will play your game, amuse the crowd a little bit, and return to my study as fast as possible. Aisling Sternbridge, High Regent of the Chantry of the Five Boroughs, a hero of the Battle of New York, the biggest warlock in town, could be a prince herself if she didn't have her eyes on a bigger prize. The thing is, nobody knows what the prize is. They only know it was something to do with the goal of her thaumaturgical research. Whoever tried to find out what it is failed. Violently. Oh, I'm sure you're going to have fun. Miss Sawinski here has just informed me Katherine Weise is back in town. It is safe to assume she will join our festivities. You're kidding me. It's not safe to assume. It's certain. She told me she will be here tomorrow night. Weise. Excellent. I'd love to catch up with her. The barely concealed venom in her voice clearly suggests that, in fact, she'd hate to catch up with her. Yes, looks like tomorrow night will be a very special, but for now, I bid you adieu. And she's gone. Is there some kind of story between Aisling and Weise that I should be aware of? You could say that. The High Regent Sturbridge once attempted to call for a blood hunt on Weise. Whoa. Wow. Why? I've heard 5 different versions of the story, and all of them seem plausible. Catherine's relationship with the city is odd, to say the least. But hush for now. He's obviously trying to kill the conversation, and the appearance of Thomas Arturo gives him a perfect way out. Mr. Arturo. Ah, Halsmai! Keep up the good work, eh? Of course. Thomas Arturo, an architect by trade, is a herald, a member of Prince Panhard's inner circle, an eccentric whose thoughts seem to be 10 times faster than his words. Good night, Mr. Arturo. Ah, yes. He disappears into the night. Well, that was brief. Maybe I should stand in their way. That might force them to properly acknowledge my existence. You severely underestimate their dedication to ignoring whelps like you. And just in case you're serious, I beg of you, don't. I've been meaning to ask you this for a while now, but never had the opportunity. You really hate Arturo's guts, don't you? He carefully measures his diplomatic response. I have no strong feelings about Thomas Arturo whatsoever. Well, considering you're always listing positives about every local Camarilla representative under the moon, you might as well have called him a cunt. Language, whelp. And as for Arturo, I will share my opinion about him as soon as I come up with one that sticks for more than a week. A group of kindred emerges from the art hall, rushing towards the street. Only a noble-looking woman stops next to us. She's wearing a hijab, but curiously enough, doesn't hide her hair beneath it. Primogen. If you were rude enough to stare, you'd quickly notice the cloth serves mostly to cover up her horrifying scars. Kadir. Oh, and young Julia. I'm doing my best not to stare because Samira is one of the few NYC Camarilla figures who hasn't been an asshole to me yet. Still here? Did the prince require the clan of the Hunt's counsel in some matter? Yes, I advised her that no matter how hard she tries, she shouldn't expect me to wear a different costume tomorrow night. She's the Banu Haking Primogen. Just like the La Sombra, their clan was independent from the Camarilla until relatively recently. However, they negotiated a better deal than we did. They have a Primogen, for one. Hailing from the Middle East, the Banu Haking are drawn to the practice of justice. The rules must be upheld and every transgression punished. They don't have much say in UIC, but the prince often seeks their judgment. It's good for PR. It's just good PR. I trust she was understanding. Those are beautiful clothes. Thank you so much. I am eager to see the outfit you came up with. And how are you, Julia? Have you seen any lights at the end of the tunnel? Same old, Samira. Still wandering in the dark, bumping my shin every 2 steps. Sorry to hear that. I trust you're pestering the prince and your superiors to improve your standing. It's a process. Oh, Julia. You won't achieve anything if you don't keep reaching for it. Kadir, weren't you supposed to teach her the ropes? I'm trying to, Primogen, but with this child it's always a process. I can only wish you good luck, then. Good night, Julia. Good night, Kadir. Good night. Have a safe trip. The heart hole has to be almost empty by now. You like her, don't you? Stop with your class clown act, whelp. It only serves to reveal deep insecurities. Wow, that's harsh. It's factual. Weise as harsh as you claim. She did tell us both to call her Samira, but you're still keeping your distance with that Primogen shit. Watch your profanity. Don't you project your fantasies onto me. I won't give you a lesson about professional boundaries, but I suspect the way you will eventually learn it will be extremely unpleasant. Am I interrupting something good, Fox? Even though I'm constantly pestering him, Kadir's composure is unshaken. His response comes swift and unfazed. Not at all, Mr. Van der Weyden. Heading back to your house for this. Not at all, Mr. Van der Weyden. Heading back to your office. You know me, my dear sheriff. Where else would I go? Now that's curious, even though Carter van der Weyden is a Primogen as well. Malkavian, to be precise. I don't hear Kadir address him as much. Hope to see you tomorrow night. Oh, I will absolutely show up, provided I can. But just in case, I already apologize for making it to the prince. Simply drowning in work these days. The rhythms, tempo, and intonation patterns of his voice are so familiar. Half of it sounds like JFK, the other half exactly like Barack Obama, just like his appearance. It's all so fake. His old money, of course, comes from a long line of Dutch merchants who originally settled in New York region, runs a widely successful law office, rubs elbows with elites of both kindred and kind varieties alike. He seems perfect in every way, and that's why he's so unnerving. He's a child of Malkav and must be blighted with some affliction, but whatever it is, he doesn't let it show. Hard not to wonder what he's hiding. The celebrations are planned to last all week. Surely you will find the time? I pray I will, my good man. I pray I will. In any case, you need to reach me. You know where to find me. Have a good one! He doesn't even register my presence before leaving. Sometimes I think they all still hoping I will simply go away. As a Carter drives away in his limousine, Kadir shakes his head. You wanted to hear about which member of New York City's camarilla I dislike the most? Yes? He shoots me a knowing glance and smirks. Too bad. They're all my dear colleagues, and I deeply respect every single one of them. Sure you do. Wouldn't want to blurt out something that could lock you out of Mr. Van der Weyden's legal services, would you, you ass kicker? Kisser. I think that was Kisser. It also looks like he kicks ass, but... I do expect to find myself in need of a good defense attorney with my broke, incompetent, and foul-mouthed assistants finally pushes me over the edge. Rude. Do you still need me here? I still need to swing by St. Patrick's tonight. Don't worry, we're almost done. The prince is coming out. The captain is the last person to leave the ship, huh? And there she is. Helene Panhard, the big kahuna, as someone I once knew would call her. The de facto ruler of New York City and a self-professed patron of the arts. Claudia, a penny for your thoughts. You should be pleased to hear the High Regent is resigned to her fate, my prince. Mr. Van der Weyden is decidedly not. I suspect he will be too busy to join the festivities all the week through. Excellent. She turns to me. Miss Sawinski, weren't you supposed to accompany our good sheriff in his duties tonight? There was an unexpected change of plans. Katherine Weise is back in the city. Katherine is here. Now that's a welcome surprise, but what does it have to do with you, Miss Sawinski? She said she didn't want to trouble you with all the paperwork regarding your arrival, Prince Panhard. It's been taken care of. Kadir has already been informed of everything. That's certainly a nice gesture, but wait a minute now. Where exactly did you meet her? In a fast food restaurant, my prince. I see. Helene rubs her eyes. Katherine and her love for proletarian amusement. I suppose it will be a source of amusing anecdotes this week. If we want to avoid these situations in the future, it might be a good time to discuss offering Miss Sawinski an office of her own. We'll get to it eventually. There are more pressing matters at hand. The festivities start tomorrow and there's still so much to be done. Will you make sure the hearthold is secure before leaving? Certainly, my prince. Have a good night. Good night, Kadir. Good night, Miss Sawinski. We'll talk about your work soon, don't worry. Of course. Good night, Miss... Prince Panhard. A chauffeur escorts her to a limo. There's an awkward silence between me and Kadir until the car disappears around the corner. More pressing matters, huh? A penny for your thoughts, Sheriff? I'm certain an image of a keeper of the Elysium stuck in a fast food restaurant will linger in Prince Panhard's mind. You're far closer to your goal than you were a few minutes ago. I'm pretty sure I've heard you say something to that effect a few times now. And I stand by my words. Rome wasn't built in a day, Julia. As a Camarilla loyalist, don't you think it sucks that the Ivory Tower is so hellbent on showing disrespect to my clan, they're actually willing to make fools of themselves in the process? We've all had to endure our own hazing rituals, but yes, the current situation is not ideal. Whatever. You need a hand closing up the Elysium? I'll manage. It's getting late, better run. Some shadow in Chicago is probably impatient to get a copy of the reports you've given me. You've pleased one master, now it's time to please the other. Yeah, here's the thing about working for two masters. Neither of them really think of you as their own. Not knowing how to reply, Quadir shrugs. I wave to him goodbye and head for the subway. When I reach St. Patrick's Cathedral, I'm greeted by a voice that grates on me like teeth on tinfoil. Edward? It's Christian Edward from Twilight. Well, the prodigal daughter returns. Oh my god, oh. This is the one thing I didn't want to happen. Julia, please, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Where's Father Leonard? He's clearly... duties kept him from getting here on time. He sent me to apologize in his name. Kept you company for a few minutes. That's the second thing he ought to apologize for. He just wants his flock to live in unity. I am more than willing to oblige him. Why won't you? For the last time, I'm not a part of his flock. We have a purely professional arrangement. I know you see it that way. The Knights' clan tendency to stick close to the Catholic Church is their greatest virtue, but they will still consider this relationship purely instrumental. This is why we need kindred like you to bring the spiritual change to your clan, to make them understand God's precious gifts. The closer they get to the light, the greater their shadows will become. Again with this insufferable sermonizing. Ben White-Segal. Here's a local nutjob, an ex-artist, a degenerate who had some sort of complete mental breakdown in the 90s. To recover, he took to religion for solace and guidance. At first, he proclaimed his readiness to devote the rest of his own life to studying Nodism. After a few years though, he changed his mind and joined the Catholic Church instead. As luck would have it, his neophyte zeal found a major target in me. When I first met him, I was stupid enough to tell him I was raised Catholic and still identifies as such, somewhat. He immediately pictured me as some sort of a force for change within the Camarilla and set out to put me back on the righteous path. Now he won't stop preaching to me, and apparently until I become a nun. Remember, the darkest place is directly beneath the candle. Your turncoats have this unfortunate predisposition to find salvation right within your grasp, and then lose your way in the shadows. Christ! Once he starts, he just won't stop. I guess it's time to bring out the big guns. By the way, I was meaning to ask, got any news about Sophie Langley? A painful grimace crosses his face, but doesn't linger. Kind of rude to change the subject, you know? Rude? I'm just looking for a topic both sides of this conversation would care about. You know, like any guide on etiquette says you should? Salvation is a topic close to anyone's heart, whether they admit it or not. And it's pretty bold of you to assume I still care about Langley. I do not assume. I am certain you do. The second she retires from the public eye, you stop acting like Jesus era Caney and start acting like Jesus is King era Caney. Coincidence? I've never had a Jesus era. Do people really call it that? Here's how it's going to work. Tell me what you know, I'll tell you what they say. Keep in mind, I didn't know she was your sire until a few nights ago. Hell, I haven't even met her. He winces a bit at me saying hell, but lets it go. Sure, I figure out you would have prodded that wound long ago if you knew. What do you care anyway? Better to let you drone on about your tormented past than to let you carry on with your good commissionary's shit. Professional curiosity. Once a journalist, always a journalist. Scratches his head and exhales in a sad mockery of a chuckle. Fine, then. I'll do my best to make it short. Just like you said, Sophie Langley, every New York kinder's beloved socialite, was my sire. We first met sometime after World War II. I left France right before the Nazis went around the Maginot Line. I struggled to keep my siblings alive with my art, watched my brother die during the flu epidemic of '43. I was close to losing my mind. That's when she showed up. Said the sheer torment in my work caught her eye. She became my patron, allowed my talents to flourish, supported me financially. Eventually she embraced me. As a well-off kindred, my artistic interests started to naturally deviate from what they used to be back when I was poor, mortal, upstart. I began to see the world the way her social circle does. And that she couldn't forgive. Instead of being a fun novelty, it became just another part of her, the malaise surrounding her. She grew distant, and then stopped seeing me altogether. I've had my share of meltdowns because of this, I won't deny that. I locked myself out of many career opportunities, but it was an important lesson. Don't trust your elders. Vampirism affects them psychologically as well. If they take interest in you, they won't stop until they suck your soul dry, and then discard you like a broken toy. For the first time since I've known him, Segal registers to me as something other than a Bible-thumping nuisance. Is it compassion I feel? Do I find them relatable? How dreadful. It's possible he's strategically trying to elicit sympathy. Maybe he heard about my dramatic exit from Lodestar, and maybe it's just alluding to the way my sire left me here to fend for myself. It is only God who will never lead you astray. This is why I find your act so frustrating, Julia. You're so close to getting it, but you choose sin instead. There's the big no Segal, I know. Almost had me fooled. Let's get back on track. What about Langley's disappearance from the city? Her path was a road to perdition. Whenever she ended up, I doubt she's too happy about it. She had plans for the future of this city, wanted to make her ultimate artwork. She was always the vain one. And of course, you are completely sure you have nothing to do with her disappearance? Please don't tell me you're getting at what I think you're getting at. Everybody says you've been acting like you're trying to repent for something ever since her vanishing act, and you've got a motive. Of course I'm getting at what you think I'm getting at. Benoit shakes his head. You really have the devil in your heart, Julia. Always testing me. Just asking what everyone's thinking. Are they now? Listen, I'm familiar with a lot of the insults attached to my name in the city. Those aren't exactly compatible with the image of a ruthless killer. This is the skin of a killer, Bella. Killer, huh? No, that's interesting. I haven't said anything about killing. He scrubs his hands over his forehead and collects himself before responding. Stop picking apart every word I say in this completely unpleasant way. Here's a statement if you really want one, Mrs. Hercule Poirot. I do believe Sophie, the way I knew her, has met her end. Even if she's still walking this earth, she wouldn't come back here as some prideful aristocrat. She'd have to undergo a spiritual rebirth. Someone has reminded her of her place. Her former friends talk of her in hushed voices. Even that servant play toy of her went missing. No more camarilla parties. She's done for. Whatever happened to her, I don't know. I swear on Jesus and his sandals, I have nothing to do with it. But yes, I'm still here, and she's not. And it's not the reason to gloat, but to be more humble. I received a sign from God telling me to re-examine all the unfortunate ways that still resemble Sophie Langley. And I listened. I rejected the pride I shared with her. I renewed my vows to God, recommitted to preaching His greatness. I mean, this is why we're having this conversation in the first place. Right now, when I think of Langley's influence of my life, and I'm grateful because she was the sign that got me here. And, if God wills it, maybe one day you'll look at her the same way, Julia. Mental note. Whenever he circles back to his preachy tone, it's time to intervene. Alright. If it makes you feel any better, I think that the only way a wimp like you could ever hurt her was by boring her to death with Bible quotes. Now then, quid pro quo, tit for that. You were saying people still talk about me. I was curious if... Oh, look, it's finally here! Stalling for time worked. Father Leonard rushes in our direction, carrying a folder of documents under his arm. I assume it's the ones I came for. Father Leonard. Christ be praised, Julia. Yesterday I was told this is how priests greeted their parishioners in Eastern Europe. Forever and ever, amen. Actually, I think we said each other's lines. Never mind. Another long night? Isn't it taking a toll on you? Ah, no need to worry. These days I sleep a few hours a day. Short naps take care of the rest. There's always work to be done. I apologize for being late. At least I managed to get here before you and Benoit went for each other's throats. Good. I was getting worried. Oh, who did you take me for, Father? He takes you for a total bozo who's about as effective at converting people as a documentary about pedophilia in the Catholic Church. It's too kind just to say it out loud. Ouch. We're here what I have to deal with, Father? But don't worry. We'll make a saint of her. We'll make a saint out of her yet. Forget saint. For now I'd settle for an adult in the room. Isn't that what you're here for? I've been patient with that role, but by now you kids should be moving out, not leaving crayon marks on the walls and throwing food at another time. Daddy's not looking. So let's just focus on our grown-up duties, shall we, Julia? Here. He gives me a folder he was carrying with him, and I pass him the reports I wrote earlier tonight. Among kindred, it is common knowledge that the Catholic Church is one of the La Sombra's greatest assets. Hell, it might even be one of the main reasons from the Camarilla is slowly warming up to the clan. We are technically... Oh, Jesus. We are technologically impaired, and as such, woefully unprepared to face the challenges of communicating in the 21st century. Hard to handle advanced decryption when you can't even unlock a smartphone. This is where the Vatican connections enter the picture. A web of priests scattered all around the world exchange our dispatches between each other, making sure they all reach their destinations in total secrecy. I was told not everyone in the Holy See is friendly to our kind, but the most screwed and talented usually are. You could say they're like a mortal Camarilla, better than any intelligence you see. Remember what happened to John Paul I when he attempted to uncover the workings of the Institute of the Works of Religion? Death after 33 days of papacy, rumors of CIA and Masonic involvement. Not that Father Leonard has anything to do with any of this, for a Catholic priest is alright. He'd probably have made me stay a believer a few years longer than I did, had I known him as a teenager. Leonard is intelligent, kind, helpful towards his parishioners, treats his superiors with a healthy dose of skepticism, and is not involved in any sort of political church games. Well, at least not beyond helping me contact my bosses in Chicago every other night or so. He knows about the kindred, and he knows about the Second Inquisition. He ought to avoid the latter in order to keep the former from oppression, because according to him, it's the right thing to do. I know there's gotta be something wrong with him, some selfish motivation maybe, and I haven't nailed it down yet, but it doesn't feel like he's making an effort to hide it, so I'll give him a pass. By the way, I hope you don't mind. I finally took the liberty of asking how your parents are doing. Thank you, Father, but you shouldn't have. Not a problem. A priest at St. Stanislaus Kostka is a good friend. He says your parents started showing up every Sundays again. Front rows. Your father's looking better and better. It makes me feel nothing, but I still give him a token nod and a grateful smile. Thank you, Father Leonard. Now, if you'll excuse me, the sunrise is almost here. Yes, be careful, and God bless you. Amen. Goodbye, Julia. I'll let you off the hook this time, but next time, you won't be so lucky, alright? Sure, just one more thing of the never-ending list of events I'm not looking forward to. Guess it's time to call it a night. I'm home! Finally! You doing alright? Fine, I guess. Why aren't you asleep? I figured it's finally time for me to become more of a night owl. We've talked about making our schedules sync better. Watch your vitamin D. I'd kill to have your skin. Would be a shame to waste it. Are they roommates? Shouldn't have smoked so much before you got bitten, sweetheart. Should have shared your skincare routine with me back when I was still breathing. I can just be going around sharing my one secret weapon. It's top secret stuff. MK Ultra level. Jeffrey Epstein's current whereabouts level. I'd have to kill you if I told you. Okay. Okay then. Love you too, hon. Come on, what's with the attitude? Nothing. I just thought we're beyond hiding secrets from each other. I guess I was wrong, but okay, I get it. I really do. Oh my god, they're roommates. Time out. You're not really mad, are you? Nah, just my inner asshole teasing you. Never mind. I feel a little more self-conscious than usual tonight. Don't. You want me to do your makeup before you go to sleep? No need. No need. Weren't you supposed to have some sort of big party tomorrow night? I was involved in the backstage stuff. What makes you think I was invited? Because you're the coolest, cutest, and most of all around amazing person I know. It'd be insane not to put you on the short list. I ship it! Believe it or not, but most vampires are pretty insane. Interdimensional psychic vampire level insane? Because that's how crazy they have to be to ignore you like this. Yeah, I would say so. Fuck them then. A big bunch of posh dicks. They hate you because they ain't you, but they'll see. Jesus, how do you do it? Do what? You always assault me with so much of this weird, stupid positivity that I can't react to it without completely shifting my mental attitude. How do you do it? Oh, the answer is easy. You remember how I told you we have this spiritual connection? I can sense what you feel and want. You can sense what I feel too, if you really focus. Yeah, I think I called it a big load of bullshit. Said the girl talks to ghosts. But watch this, Agent Screlly. I sensed you feeling down tonight, and I realized that you really need to end this night. She points to one of her drawers. It's one where she keeps her supply of ketamine. Come on. What? No, wrong drawer. We're not meeting demons, we're meeting angels. MDMA? Ding ding ding! Took it half an hour. Perfect timing. Thanks to our spiritual connection. Ready to fly away? The mood isn't right. I need music. Got a special SoundCloud playlist ready to go, prepared specifically to uplift one Julia Sawinski. Just give me a sign, and I'll press play. Jesus, you're impossible. That's why you love me. I hope. I give up. Come here. Let me have a taste of you. Maybe this one time the high won't end. I leave Dakota's apartment as soon as the sun goes down. Yesterday was fun, but I always feel a little nervous when I spend too much time with her. She never lets me escape from being the center of attention. It's exhausting. At least the last time I spent with her, the happier she is to see me again. It's a tricky act to balance, though. I am grateful for her presence in my life, but never mind. What's on my list of chores tonight? Ah yes, only one thing. Don't show up for the party at the Heart Hole. Well, this is the rare night where I don't have anything to do. Might as well take a trip around the city and see what's up. Maybe fix myself a little drink while I'm at it. A walk in the park. In life, I wasn't especially fond of parks. Now as one of the kindred, I can finally see the appeal. Past midnight, they become a surprisingly good hunting ground. Breaking the habit. I need to break out of this mood, go somewhere I never visit, see something to avoid. Think, Julia, what is the least new place to go and live a little? I want to go hunting. Van Cortlandt Park. Funny, I never knew how much I could miss nature until I got stuck in this urban jungle for good. The sight of familiar green surroundings slowly floods my mind with disjointed images, back from when I just moved to NIC and was still in awe of it. Oh, come on, fine. I close my eyes, allowing myself to drown in the stream of memories. An elderly couple holding their frail hands in the warmth of the morning sun. An evening gathering of self-important academics, fervently discussing the discoveries no one but them cares about. A bunch of kids chasing an imaginary treasure, joyful, restless, oblivious to the dangers of the summer's heatwave. A young, perfectly chiseled jogger running along the gold course, 100% graceful in every move he makes. Mesmerizing. My eyes snap open. The spinning kaleidoscope of images fades away. I collect my focus and remember what brought me here. A burning heat reaches my fingers. I flick the butt away, immediately take another cigarette out of the pack. before proceeding through the parade ground. The faint sound of shoes tapping against the concrete interrupts my contemplative mood. Just what I was hoping for. I hurriedly finish my smoke and take a step back, blending in with the shadows. Lonely jogger runs into and out of the pale lamplight, completely lost in his thoughts. All dressed up in top-shelf sportswear, wiry muscles clearly visible under the skin-tight outfit, and his exposed neck. I get urged back under control for now. Back when I was alive, I'd rely on the breathe in, breathe out exercise. However, nowadays breathing costs a premium. Just as I regain my composure, the jogger stops by the flickering lantern and takes a glance at his friend's smartphone. His body tenses noticeably as he answers the call. Moving in on him right now would, of course, inevitably involve the caller hearing the assault happen. No reason to make things complicated. I'll take my time. I cautiously get closer and closer until I can finally overhear his words. Should expect the bad news, I know, but Jesus, Tasha, he's 9! He struggles and fails to sound calm. No, she doesn't know yet. I'll tell her when I get home. I need to think this through. I notice a lanyard, half stuck into a pocket, with the Bronx Times logo slapped on it. They say there's no cure. Yeah, I heard something about experimental treatments in Russia, but I can't make a decision on my own. I connect the dots, realize what he's talking about, and feel like I was punched straight in the guts. Listen, I need to clear my head. Tell Jonah I need a couple of days off. If he starts throwing a fit again, tell him he'd better learn to write a fucking column on his own. No, seriously. Thanks, Sasha. Yes, I'll give him a kiss from his auntie. The moment he hangs up, his composure goes out the window. He basically stumbles to the nearest bench. God damn it! His faint sobbing stops me in my tracks. I lose my appetite. Feeding on this guy would feel nauseating anyway. Just when I convince myself that I should let the basic decency take the reins, he notices me creeping around. He gives me a startled glance, eyes damp, looking absolutely miserable. Busted. So what do you say to a guy you were just about to assault in Dark Park that thought better of it? Are you a journalist? He absent-mindedly wipes away the tears of his cheeks. Do you by any chance write for the Bronx Times? His short but genuine grin catches me off guard. He didn't expect to be recognized, definitely not by some random girl in the middle of the night. Yeah, how do you know? You don't strike me as a baseball fan. So he's a sports columnist. I put the fakest smile on my face. Time to lie out of my ass. Well, you got that right. I'm a reporter too. I think I saw you once when I visited Jonah in his office. You work with him, right? Yeah, you might say that. His inner struggle seems pretty clear. Truth be told, I write most of these things as well. Bingo. For real? That lazy bum will never change. If he wasn't such an ass kisser, he'd be out of his comfy seat in no time. Sheesh. It's like you read my mind. Yeah. Anyway, don't let me stop you. Keep up the good work. You deserve better. You think so? Glad to hear it. Still, I don't mean to impose, but it's late and this place is not exactly... Yeah, don't worry about me. Someone's picking me up a few minutes away from here. See you around. For sure, and thank you. I notice a change in his melancholy face. He stands up with his back straight, like he has just regained some of his lost resolve. He nods and starts running straight back to his problems. I'll start walking the opposite direction. Even though I might regret this show of abstinence later, what little remains of my humanity, inside my shriveled heart, encourages me to think that letting this guy go was the right thing to do. I'll need a change of scenery to break out of this mood, and an opportunity to actually get some juice into my veins, relatively guilt-free if possible. Guess that's enough human interaction for one night! Once more into Big Beat Burger, into the last fast food joint I'll ever know. I'll have the usual. The first time I used this line I wasn't sure it would work, but I've gained enough notoriety among the staff that it does. The cashier just smiles, nods, charges me for one black coffee, which I never drink. I can imagine them instructing the newbies. See that emo weirdo? Here's how it is. She always orders a single cup of coffee, nothing else. She doesn't even drink it. Probably wouldn't take a single sip, even if I was still alive. This stuff is just... trash. But at least being a buying customer gives me an excuse to sit there for as long as I want to. I wish I could use one of those self-order kiosks to minimize human contact, but touchscreens don't exactly like me. Not too long ago, I managed to blue screen 10 of them in a row. Well, the good news is it doesn't look like I have anything to do tonight. The bad news is it's because every kindred who matters is having fun at the Hearthole right now. It's not like I wanted to go, just wanted them to invite me so that I could tell them to fuck off. I scanned the entrance to the restaurant through my peripheral vision. Am I naively hoping someone will come and save me from misery? Guess I am. Please, 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 let somebody come and get me out of here. A prince, a princess, a knight in shining armor, a fairy godmother, pouncing huntsman, Big Bad Wolf, Mila Jovovich, Vin Diesel, Azealia Banks. Hell, I'll take anyone at this point. Visualizing, tapping into the power of my subconscious, materializing my dreams. Nope, doesn't work. Looks like you're eternally stuck being a nobody in the corner of a shitty restaurant, sweet little Julia. And life's a bitch, and then you don't even get to die. I pretend to read a book about psychoanalysis I stole from Dakota a while. Having found it too mentally taxing, I switched to pretending to read the Stephen King book, which I also stole from Dakota. After the terrifying realization that it was written in the last 15 years, and therefore contains no amusing drugged-out rants about troubled childhood in Maine, I switched back to looking at the entrance. That party must be so stuffy and trashy and boring. At this point, I'm no longer looking for salvation, I'm asking for amusement. But it doesn't come. All I get is boring bozos in normcore clothes. They walk in, take care of their business without doing anything to amuse me, and walk right back out. A few minutes later, after a little hope, a tall, elegant man marches in with a spring in his step. He looks around, impatient, irritated. Then he notices the person he was looking for and reacts with visible relief. He gallantly approaches my table, looks at me and says, "Kadir! There you are! But now that's curious, I shouldn't be here. What's up? Are you here to be my fairy godmother? Will you give me a wonderful dress and drive me to the party? But it's already past midnight." My dumb attempts at self-amusement doesn't faze him at all. He doesn't even roll his eyes, he just stares at me blankly. Grab your stuff, get in my car. Now. His tone leaves no room for doubt, something bad has happened. I want to ask what, but whenever he's in this I will simply ignore all the dumb shit you say mode, I know better than to ask questions. Instead, I silently follow him to the exit. He guides me to his car. I just hope I haven't messed anything up. Again. I don't think I have, but... have I? Kadir's car, as usual, he gives me the backseat. He's always uneasy with the passenger's seat he's taken. Doesn't want anyone to limit his peripheral vision, he says. Normally I'd catch him observing me in the rear-view mirror, but this time he's watching the streets. More tense than usual. Something must have caught him off guard. I've got my seatbelt on and my popcorn ready. What's up? The awkward silence feels like it will last forever. Eventually he finds the right words and speaks up. 6 weeks ago the prince told me to parley with anarchs in the docks. Yeah, you made me tag along so that I could learn something about politics. As it turns out, politics meant something awfully similar to watching my drunken family shout at each other at a wedding party. There was this man who didn't need to shout to make my blood boil. The meanest one in the room, their leader. White hair, monocle, musty clothes. With this fucking Polak cunt. Scrooge McDuck, yeah. How could I forget? A lot of panache, whole-time bravado, gendered insults flung my way. What was his name? Something British. Made me think of Hollywood. Callahan? Baron Callahan. Douglas Boss Callahan. Right! It's 2020, but the man's opinions and ideas were stuck in the 20s. Weren't anarchs supposed to be the progressive option? I never understood why they'd put up with him. He has ways of predicting which way the wind will blow. Anytime Camarilla or the SI hit anarchs, it was the factions opposed to him that were hurt. The luckiest bastard in the world. Thought he didn't believe in luck. I don't. It sure looks like his luck has finally run out tonight. Huh. Wait. Don't tell me. The anarchs got rid of him? An evil grin. Maybe not. I don't know the specifics, but I do know he's gone. Wow, gone as in... Is he dead? Deader than dead? I'm 99% sure the bastard met his final death. How do you know? We've got trustworthy sources in the inner circles. Looks like all hell is about to break loose. There's an emergency meeting at Art Hall. Jesus, and you're bringing me with you? Why? Because you were on the way. Because I could. Because I should. You might not be important to the members of the court, but you're still an asset to the sect. Symbolically, at least. I can justify sneaking you into the party and claiming it's for your own protection. My sweet fairy godmother in a luxury carriage! Wait a minute though, the party is still happening? I called the prince, told her the best course of action is stopping it, and started listing security protocols I've prepared for these sorts of situations. She interrupted me halfway through and told me we were to discuss it face to face. Doesn't sound like she was interested. The party is that important, huh? Politics. Politics is that important. I don't know if he's trying to convince me or himself. And once again, politics sounds an awful lot like a bunch of party-loving assholes shouting at each other. Don't worry, this isn't the kind of, how should I call it, governing issue the likes of you and I tend to deal with. And how would you describe the governing issues we tend to deal with? Shoveling ourselves out of shit. As usual, it seems a little embarrassed for cussing, but for being too honest. Either way, it's cute. No argument there. And that's where the conversation ends. We stay silent as the car rides off towards the unknown. I'm not a New York City Baron. The Baron of New York City, if you please. Once more a memory of an old douchebag who thought he could rule the world crosses my mind. Well, it looks like the world has left him behind. Sayonara, asshole. And here I am, at the only place I didn't expect to visit tonight. The Art Hall. Okay, I've been playing for a while now. I think I will leave it here for now. This episode is going to be a little longer. I had asked you if you wanted longer episodes, but my throat is killing me right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.